What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Shavink here, and for long followers of the channel, you know what this video is. Excited to bring it back to you guys for draft week. We are reacting to my way too early 2023 NFL mock draft from way back last May, and it's going to be a fun ride. If you remember me doing this last year for 2022, you remember it was pretty much a disaster, and that's the point. Things change, right? Prospects elevate, prospects drop off the radar. That's just how it goes. That's the draft, right? So we're taking a look at this one. We'll see how well we do, if there's any pairings in there. As always, appreciate likes, appreciate subscribes, and draft show this Thursday. But without further ado, let's get into reacting to the early mock. All right, off we go here. Into it here in the first round with this mock, starting with the Houston Texans, of course. All right, so Houston Texans have won. I mean, STROUD, quarterback from Ohio State, a guy who should obviously firmly be in high. We've done it. This looks so much better than last year's. Do I even need to be here? This is perfect, right? There's no way it can get worse than this. We're going to call it. We're going to take it while we're ahead. Look at the 4 players on the board here. Yeah, the teams aren't in the right spot, but again, team projections, tough to do. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. I'll see you guys later. This is I've already won. There's no need to keep going. Done. Done. Okay, no, all seriousness. Let's keep going. Guys in contention this year. This is good. And obviously one of the 3 guys really for the top overall pick in this draft. And again, if you had said STROUD top pick in the draft after the first week of last fall when he played against Minnesota, people thought you're crazy. This is true. But Stroud was phenomenal down the stretch, has sufficient arm strength for the position, but really what stands out is the accuracy and the touch he can put on the ball, to layer the throws over defenders. You know, just the placement of his ball to all levels of the field is very, very good. And the ability to maneuver and navigate the pocket, whether it be under pressure, to buy a little time for himself, or to get himself in position for a good throw, does all that, resets the feet very well. He's just really refined, and he's only going to get better at the quarterback position, and should be a good year for him. Again, throwing to a lot of great weapons this year at Ohio State. We'll talk about another one of those guys very soon. But again, this guy is just precision, and a step forward could be in store, and it could be really, really good. A special year for Stroud. So Texans finally get their passer.
We were this close.
You know, obviously Davis Mills will get that shot this year, but I think Stroud is a very, very big upgrade there.
Man, we were so
Falcons
close
at 2, obviously. Will Anderson Jr., edge rusher from Alabama. Man, what a year for Anderson last year. If he opted out this fall, I don't think anybody would be shocked or be angered with it at all. I mean, literally 17 and a half sacks, 31 tackles for loss in the SEC. That's just, those numbers are stupid. And I know Atlanta did a great job going Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone on the edge. I don't care. Like, you're going to try, I think, because they're going to see if Desmond Ritter's the guy long term. I know skipping out on either Stroud or Young here wouldn't feel great, but take a chance on Ritter. And now you have Anderson and probably Ebiketie being your 2 edge rushers. I mean, Anderson Jr. should absolutely change this Falcons defense. He has that ability to win as an edge rusher in a variety of ways, and the production should, if it's even like 80% of what it was in 2021,
it was like 75%.
Phenomenal year for him once again
in terms of pressures. Anyway.
Lions at 3, we're going Bryce Young. They finally take the quarterback. I think a lot of people were speculating if it was going to be this past draft. Didn't happen. They're loading up. They have the roster set for the guy. Bryce Young is the guy here. I think he will go top 5. I know he's a little bit smaller, and that's just not even with height either. I think he's at like 194 pounds right now, but still, this is kind of a little bit of antithesis to Stroud. I think Stroud's very much the more in-structure refined guy. Bryce Young can obviously do things in structure at a high level, but where Bryce Young can thrive is out of structure, these off-platform throws, dropping the arm angle, you know, this real gunslinger type attitude where he can he can thrive in the face of pressure, make great throws. I mean, the final drive against Auburn was great, hanging in there against Georgia. Both times, really, he was phenomenal. I think that he'll have a great line protecting him in Detroit. You know, they've added a lot of pieces there. They add Jamison Williams. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got T.J. Hawkinson. Everything's there for Bryce Young to step anymore and be the guy at
but you
quarterback.
Could get another tight end.
Jets at 4. We're going to go Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman from Georgia. Yes, this is the best defensive lineman Georgia had last year.
Still
really a
holds up,
combination of Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt, basically. I mean, the quickness and the explosion that he can play with is Devontae Wyatt like. It's even better. It's just take that up a notch even. So I don't care about the stat line. He was playing on a loaded front seven, so it doesn't really concern me. I think you'll see the production jump this year at Georgia.
Has always been
but again,
low, guys.
he has the power
It's
to hold
true.
double teams. He can two gap. But again, he can get after it and slant attack gaps as well. This is a great piece for them to add, with Quinnen Williams. They have Jermaine Johnson, now Carl Lawson. This front would be absolutely lethal for the Jets in 2023 if they
This would
went
be
this
wild
direction.
if that was the case, yeah.
So number 5 here, Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going KAYSHON Boutte, the wide.
Okay, well,
This is less than ideal. Now, I think there's a chance that 3 of these 4 are top maybe 15, 20, for sure 20 selections, right? I think. Well, we'll see. I think, obviously, KAYSHON Boutte is not going to make the first round. It will be interesting if he's a top 4 round selection. Obviously, the talent's there, certainly. But, yeah, not great. Brazil, probably... it's so up in the air. Could he go in the first round? Maybe. He's been falling out of the first round in a lot of mocks recently. JSN's still very much in play. He might actually get picked by Chicago. It's entirely possible. And the Panthers picking at 8 was actually really close. They picked 9th. They just moved up to 1. So none of these. The Bears one could be right. Receiver from LSU. I think he's right now my favorite to be wide receiver 1 in this class. I know that he didn't have a great 2 years at LSU. Obviously, kind of unfortunate that everybody left after 19. So he hasn't really had a great cast around to feed him the ball. I mean, just
have the right
38 catches
quarterback
for 509 yards
last
and 9
year either,
touchdowns this
so.
past season. Maybe Jaden Daniels transferring takes him up a notch, but he's a 3-level threat with great creativity and acceleration after the catch. You see that from him. He can go up and get the football. This, like I said, it's a 3-level threat who I think the Jacksonville Jaguars need at a receiver. I know they've got some decent pieces there.
They got him.
Signed Christian
It's
Kirk
just
to a big
Calvin
deal, but this is a
Ridley.
wide receiver 1 here.
So.
And this would have been offensive line if they hadn't just given Cam Robinson a big deal. So
Yeah.
going wide receiver, get a guy for Trevor Lawrence that he can really, truly rely on at a number 1.
Yep.
Seattle at 6, we're going Brian Brzee from Clemson, the defensive lineman who has really just a versatile player who hasn't really quite put it together yet, but I think the best is yet to come for him this season. Has the length, power, agility to kind of be a disruptor at really multiple alignments up front. Seattle, obviously,
this is
true.
true.
They
It's
get
still in there.
offensive line help this draft. They did a great job with that. They get one edge rusher, but I think this guy you can move around all over the place. I'm excited to see how Brzee plays this year and where he aligns mostly. But again, this gives Seattle a versatile piece you can rush the passer with.
It was a tough year for
Chicago
him.
Bears at 7, going Jackson Smith and Jigba. Wide receiver Ohio State. This is going to be a great connection. Stroud and Jigba, I think, is going to be incredible this year.
It wasn't,
2 top 10 picks.
unfortunately.
And talk about the numbers for him. I mean, they're insane. 95 catches, 1,606 yards, 9 touchdowns. Had a 15-catch, 347-yard, 3-touchdown game in the Rose Bowl.
We'd love to
Just
see
a
that.
stupid game, and that could be what's in store for him. Obviously, a lot of production came from the slot with him. But he has the burst to pick up yardage after the catch, chunk plays, good spatial awareness, good curvilinear speed. He has the flexibility to change direction while maintaining speed. The creativity, the awareness he has, catch
was
the
all
transition
there in
is
the
very
video.
good. And once the ball's in his hands,
all there in
he's
the video.
dangerous. Good tracker of the football as well. Just want
Yeah.
to see how he does on the outside. A lot of production, like I said, came from the slot. So see what he can do on
Didn't
the
get any
outside
of
this
those
season.
On the outside,
Carolina
unfortunately.
Panthers at 8. This could be a quarterback, but moving up that far for Matt Corral, I think you're obviously going to give him a chance this year, maybe even the year after that.
Shoot, no.
So we're going to go defensive end here, Miles Murphy.
That's my
Very good
second
season
L
for him. I know we
after
talked about
Boutte.
the other worldly one Anderson had, but 8 sacks, 14.5 tackles for loss. That's nothing to slouch at, really. That's an
It's not
impressive
bad. It's
year
not
for
bad,
him.
but he
He's
didn't
going to be
take a
lined up
step.
with Brzee on this defensive line.
Just didn't
He's
take
a
a
power
step.
guy. He's definitely got the ability to kind of shock offensive linemen, push the pocket. He's
This
great
is
at
all
converting
true.
some explosion to power. But he's going to win with a lot of moves and a lot of power. That's where he is. He's not the 235-pound speed rusher. That's just not that's not
This
his
is
game.
true.
But good news, you have Brian Burns on the other side. This is a good contrasting styles for the Carolina
Yeah,
Panthers.
this- I mean,
on that defensive
it
line, you
fits.
lose Hassan Reddick. This could be a nice replacement, and that line with Murphy, Burns, and Derrick Brown is a very, very good one.
I mean, so Murphy, oh gosh, this is ugly. Anyway, so yeah, Murphy, I think the fall is just kind of like he just doesn't have much in the toolbox right now. He sets a good edge, right? We've talked about him a lot when we do mocks, but like he is just doesn't have a whole lot, like I said, in the toolbox. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands on draft day, first of all. But here we go. This is less than ideal, folks.
Moving on here at 9, New York Giants. We're going to take a quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, not a bad season for Van Dyke for his first really almost full year starting for Miami.
Stinks.
I mean, 62% completion, 25 touchdowns, 6 picks, not bad. Obviously, prototypical size, prototypical arm.
We fell for
Just
it.
have to see that kind of step
Some of us
forward. I
did
think
anyway.
he's a little bit late. I think the processing needs some work, but this is
that was
kind of
putting
that
it lightly.
prototypical you're
That's
looking
putting
for.
it lightly,
maybe
bro.
Herbert Allen size with hopefully the arm to boot. And this is kind of the guy that New York Giants could be building around if he takes that leap. This is still obviously projection, of course, but Van
Turns out
Dyke could be
Daniel
one of
Jones
those
is
guys who
getting
takes the leap, and it wouldn't be
$160
shocking to see him be a
So-
top 15 pick come next April. Daniel Jones not cutting it. Giants need their guy. This is their guy in this mock. Steelers at 10. We're going Kale Ringo, cornerback from Georgia.
This could still happen at 32.
You know, this another guy who got some projection, but I don't think the top of the cornerback class is going to be as good as it was this past draft.
that's
but
that's
still some
wrong.
top talent there. Ringo's got the speed, the transitional quickness, can hang with guys. He did his best.
Here's the thing. I know for a fact that Witherspoon and Gonzalez are not in this mock, so
Against
this is
Jameson
not going to go well.
Williams in their matchups, but like we said, I mean, this is a guy who can take that step forward. He's physical enough, and he's quick and athletic enough to be a lockdown corner. Steelers definitely need that help on the outside. That's really an area
They
they
still
haven't
do
really
leave
addressed
after
very well
Peterson, and
recently.
that's
So
clear.
Get a guy in there, Ringo, who could be your lockdown cornerback 1. Washington football team at 11. Gonna go Blake Freeland here, tackle from
Dang it,
BYU.
man.
Probably
This was-
not
I was
not a
driving
household
this
name just
train.
yet in the draft world.
I was driving this train as OT1. It did not work out, folks. It did not work out. It was, yeah. We'll take the L on that one as well. There's a lot of L's still on the
He
board
will
here.
be. I think he could have been tackle 3, very easily tackle 4 if he had declared this past year. Just the ability in pass protection is absolutely phenomenal for him, and I
He
think
was tackle 4
Washington,
last
they don't
year
have a lot of
wasn't saying
needs,
much
right?
Because it was
But Charles
literally a
Leno,
drop-off after
maybe he's
3.
out after this year, and you know
Lucas
this
and
is the
Smith
area
are the
that
guys.
maybe could be upgraded. And I think Freeland will take that leap, and he'll gain national attention in a tackle class that's we're kind of wait and see at this point. I mean, it's early in the
we were
process,
at that
sure,
time.
but you know we were talking about Neal last summer, so not really talking about anybody like that yet. But Freeland could make that leap.
This
Eagles at 12,
positionally could be
one of their
correct,
2
by the
picks
way, this
next year in the
Washington
first round.
one.
We're going to go Eli Ricks, cornerback from Alabama. Obviously, he has the pedigree.
This was
top
there for a
recruit
while.
for LSU, but
Until they
transfers
brought
to
both of
Alabama.
those guys back.
We'll see. I mean, the size is there, and the athleticism is there. Just going to put it all
Did not pan
together
out,
with
folks.
Saban.
This is
helping
the
out
all
and
didn't
bringing
pan
you
out
along. I
slide.
think that's first round potential for sure.
Yikes.
And the Eagles really need it. They've got veteran names in there. They've tried to build that secondary up. You need to have a long-term option, right? Darius Slay's a good player still, but you got to have that long-term option. This is a long-term build they're doing. They're spreading out draft capital. That's what they did this past year in that trade
It's
with
not
the Saints.
impossible they don't do
So
that.
let's keep
but
adding that influx
we'll
of
see.
young talent across
We'll
the
see.
board. Ricks does that for you at corner.
right now, oh boy.
Minnesota
right now,
Vikings
1
at
through 4 is
13, Derek
carrying
Hall,
hard.
edge rusher from Auburn. I feel like we'd be talking about him a lot more if Will Anderson wasn't
I mean,
the leading man really in this class overall and at edge rusher. So
Derek
Minnesota,
Hall's solid.
I mean, you look at them,
Don't
Zadarius
pay
Smith and
attention
Neil
to that
Hunter.
Patriots pick. Don't.
We'll see. That might not be long term. That could be short term. You tried it and it didn't work out. Derek Hall, who boy, I mean, 9 sacks, 12.5 tackles for loss. I think he could take a leap and even be that much better this year.
He's pretty good.
Again, another guy with pretty much all the toolbox at edge rusher at 6'3", 251. So
This is an L still.
Minnesota Vikings could find their stalwart there for the long term after hopefully getting both of those guys in the secondary in Booth and Scene this past draft. So Derek Hall could be that long-term superstar at edge for Minnesota. 14,
It's a bold
New England
claim.
Patriots. Noah Sewell, going linebacker.
This is so bad.
Linebacker
This is
from
such an
Oregon. This will
L.
be the top guy. This will be consensus top guy heading into the fall.
He was,
I mean,
and then it didn't happen.
what's there to say? He's a block deconstructor with a good power, has incredible size, and has the athleticism to boot. This will be maybe not quite Leo Chenal type testing, but again, for his size, he can definitely be a phenomenal tester. He
He
will
did test well.
and he has the instincts, processing,
range to be a coverage guy and to work downhill, be able to be versatile and build Belichick's defense. Las
These
Vegas
two are
Raiders,
crushing it right here, but Miami getting a pick is an L.
with them.
Should have
Paris
known
Johnson
the
Jr.
tampering was
obviously
real.
has not played tackle yet for Ohio State, but has only played guard to this point. But obviously, with Nicholas Petit-Frere moving on, left tackle spots open. This was a 5-star recruit, I believe number 3 in his class nationally. So obviously, he'll be taking that step, moving over to left tackle. We'll see how that works. It's very projection based. He could be sliding in, obviously, on the right side for the Raiders, who I mean, added Dylan Parham. That's a good pick for them. He's going to play on the interior, though. There's no way he's playing tackle. So they really need to still find that option. I think Paris Johnson can be that long-term option for them.
Not impossible.
As they continue to hopefully build around Derek Carr in that passing offense. Miami Dolphins at 16, one of their 2 first-round picks next year.
Yep.
We're going Peter Skoronski here. This will be the next great
two
debate about
first-round picks for the Dolphins.
And of course,
look at how things
Northwestern
change.
Tackle, funny enough. We talked about
Skoronski
Rashawn Slater with this.
Got him.
Skoronski's got great technique, and I know the arm length isn't great, but he handled Ojabo and Hutchinson very, very well in that matchup last year. So obviously there's upside to look at with him, and he'll be in a lot of first-round mocks as we get even closer to the fall as well. But again, Miami's putting together a great unit, and I think the offense is going to get there with Mike McDaniel. It's just, again, having the right 5 up front.
They address the offensive
could
line.
Play tackle.
Finally.
Obviously, like I said, has the technique.
Come on.
I think the anchor and enough recovery athleticism to play that position. You obviously have Armstead, so he can slide over to the right side. But again, you have a lot of guys who can play tackle and guard over there right now. So hopefully you get Skoronski. If he's not the option, hopefully somebody else is, but you have another long-term starter at guard at 16. I know it's not a great, not a flashy pick, but one that's still necessary. They're still figuring things out with this offensive line. Eagles back on the clock at 17. I mean, Jordan Battle.
Okay. I don't want to get ahead of myself. There's a lot of L's right here. Safety class did not pan out this way, obviously. Arizona picking 19th. Whew. What are we thinking, bro? This is Arizona picking 19th is the biggest L on here. I don't know where either of these safeties are going to end up. Battle in Philly isn't impossible. Just not here at 17. Like these two, yikes.
This should completely overhaul secondary. And, a lot of talk about the Eagles potentially doing that in this draft, and they didn't really do it early. So they addressed trenches, they addressed linebacker finally, and they got a superstar receiver. Let's finish that up. Obviously, we're going back-to-back Bama guys, but Jordan Battle does it all. He's all over the field. He's in the box, making plays, good tackler, good wrap-up player.
Untrue.
And he has good vision, reads the quarterback's eyes well, and can make plays on the football in the back end. So that versatile guy who's probably going to be locked in at safety 1 in the consensus as we enter the fall. But he kind of does it all, and that would be a great addition to the secondary. Good overall here with Ricks and Battle.
That would not be a good
Titans
overall.
at 18. This was tough. They don't
That's
have
not a good overhaul.
Needs. Obviously, they drafted Petit-Frere, so him and Radens. Hopefully, that's your right side fix.
know Broderick Jones
this
isn't
could
in
be
here.
Offensive line when we circle back.
It could be
in several months.
It could be.
We're gonna go safety here. Obviously, they got Kevin Byard, but Amani Hooker contract coming up. Brandon Joseph, 9 career interceptions. Obviously, transferring over to Notre Dame from Northwestern. We'll see how the range and ball skills. How that goes in South Bend. I think he can obviously be a back-end safety, come up, hit pretty well. Angles aren't horrible in the run game.
In the first 3 rounds.
He's still going to be a better roof player. So
an L here.
You're building that defense up, and that's kind of really a final piece to kind of move in there alongside Byard, and you've really got a really good secondary in Tennessee. Arizona Cardinals at 19. We're going to Isaiah Foskey, the edge from Notre Dame.
I would like to defend Foskey. Dude's a tremendous athlete. Dude's playing off-ball linebacker. I'm sure I'm going to say it again here, so I'm sure I'm going to say it again. I'm sorry for repeating, but Foskey's tremendously athletic. We were all hoping for the jump. I mean, he's got double-digit sacks in 2 seasons in a row. I know he's got one move. I get it, but I don't know. Maybe we're
this dude moved all over the place,
him.
Even at his size. He played some linebacker. He was kind of in the rushing. They got him in these weird fronts at Notre Dame. It was kind of cool to watch. But Foskey can really bend the edge. He can win the outside arc, win inside. Functional athleticism's off the charts with him. I just don't know what Arizona's doing. We'll see if Majai Sanders or Cameron Thomas work out. Thomas feels like a versatile guy. He's not really yet. Edge.
Thomas is okay.
Neither is obviously J.J. Watt. So you're hoping Majai Sanders does that, but I think Foskey can come in and do it as well. Another guy who's kind of surprising he returned, but a guy who can, again, take another leap this season.
And speaking of leaps, Colts at 20. We're going Will Levi, the quarterback from Kentucky.
Shoot, man. Oh, that's a bad L if you heard that at the end. I didn't actually mention Foskey playing off-ball linebacker. That's just chalk up the L on the L list. If you're counting at home, it's high. I get the Van Dyke thing is bad. That one's the worst. Saying Will Levi might be worse. That might be worse.
Kentucky.
But pairing alert here at 20. Pairing alert.
Guy had a really productive year, throwing it to Wan'Dale Robinson in the SEC and a surprisingly good Kentucky team. We'll see how he does without him. Guy plays tough, can handle pressure, has the velocity, generates good throws to all levels of the field. Accuracy's pretty good overall. We'll just see how he does now. Without his top weapon in Robinson, we kind of saw Howell kind of teeter a little bit, to kind of acclimate and adjust without his top guys. We'll see if Levi does the same thing, but this is the other leap candidate really at the quarterback position.
It's not Zachary
to elevate
Levi.
His class into being a better one. We'll see if he can do that in the SEC. That'll be the litmus test this year. Every game probably will be tough for him. So see how he responds to that. Colts obviously have Matt Ryan, but who knows? Maybe we're looking long term a little bit for Chris Ballard. Really hasn't done
time.
Anything in terms of drafting a quarterback yet outside of really Eason, which was a 4th-round pick. So maybe this one might draw a little heat, but that's okay. You know, we're just taking shots in the dark.
Maybe he's good
at this point. Ravens at 21. Of course, they get good value.
Oh, wow.
That's not shocking here. Jordan Addison, the wide receiver from, yeah, that's right. There's no logo there because we don't know yet. And it'll be really funny if he chooses when this video comes out. But,
well, he
obviously
chose USC.
Last season really helped Kenny Pickett become the top quarterback selected in a top 20 pick. So the line he had at the Biletnikoff winner, 100 catches, 1,593 yards, 17 touchdowns. That's just a stupid line wherever he goes. USC, Texas, Bama. I mean, the chances are he could put up big numbers once again. Obviously a smaller guy,
not
but
impossible that this
plays
is the
bigger than the
selection
size
either.
of the catch point, does a great job attacking the football, and he's really good after the catch, has the speed, burst, and the ability to make defenders miss, whether through contact or not. So he can kind of do it all.
I'm embellishing
and
a little
really
bit there,
exciting
probably.
player. Ravens need that wide
That's
receiver
a little
too.
embellishment,
Hopefully
buddy.
Bateman takes the leap. If he does, they need a wide receiver too. Addison can be that
still
guy
do.
for Lamar Jackson. Bengals at 22. They don't have really a lot of long-term options.
This is
in the
also
tight end room.
possible,
Obviously,
people.
losing C.J. Azama to the New York Jets in free agency.
This is
Michael
possible.
Mayer, man, this guy would have been tight end 1 if he had been in this past draft.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of them that
somebody
would
who's going to be in line, has the prototypical size to be a Y inline tight end, but also incredibly quick in the short area. I think he's a route runner, which kind of separates him from the rest of the class. And
now, does it separate him?
Could be a first-round pick come 2023.
He is going to be,
because
I think.
he can win in both facets of the game very well, and he's going to have another successful year for the Fighting Irish.
Talk to me about Nolan Smith being up there, okay? Talk to me.
Coming from Cleveland, we're going Nolan Smith, edge rusher from Georgia.
Another
I know
possible
he's a little
pairing.
bit undersized, probably in the 230s at this point, but man, this guy
Indeed.
gets after it. And the speed, the flexibility, the ability to bend, dip, rip, and
He doesn't
finish.
really bend,
Like, this guy can do it all, and he's got surprisingly
kind
good
of an
power
L
for a
there.
guy his size. Houston didn't really address edge rusher early like we thought. Obviously, they went, Stingley, Kenyon Green, Petrie, Mechie. Like, they went a lot of different positions.
Honestly, that
early,
should have
so
gone better for Houston.
Didn't really see a top edge rusher for them. Maybe Nolan Smith can be that guy rushing opposite Grenard in 2023.
Maybe
Dallas
he
Cowboys
could.
at 24. I'm telling y'all, remember this name. I know Jarrett.
Okay, I understand. Didn't work here. Okay, Cedric Van Pran decided to go back to Georgia. I'm gonna put him in a first-round mock again in a month. I promise you, he's going in it again. He is really good. Okay, he's really good. So maybe I should just
know Ricky
skip
Stromberg
this,
both came back to school. They'll both be hot names in the center class. Cedric Van Pran is extremely good.
He is
Young center at Georgia.
I'm gonna skip
telling
this
from
because
Dallas,
again,
right away in 2023.
it's fine.
Okay, Seattle fans, this is your quarterback, and this is.
Oh no. Okay. So the hype train for Cameron Ward was fun. Incarnate Word over to Washington State. He could have declared. I like that he went back. I think he can refine a little bit. He plays very much like Anthony Gordon does with footwork, if you know who Anthony Gordon is. I'm sure this will be interesting. Seattle still might take the quarterback, though. So this isn't like out of the realm of possibility. Nor is anything honestly still on this list except obviously Bijan, but we might have the number correct on Bijan.
This is the big projection. Cameron Ward, obviously coming over from Incarnate Word. Yes, Incarnate Word is where he played quarterback last year, but this dude can sling it. Got the arm talent, arm strength as well. He can drop the angles. He can kind of do it all. He makes plays on the move, but has that howitzer attached. He has the athleticism. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch late night at Washington State.
He was.
Just saying, this is one of the deep sleepers who could take the leap, and we're going to project it here on this 2023 NFL mock draft.
Close.
So Seattle gets their quarterback after going Brazil early. Sounds like a pretty good draft.
QB is
your
not
quarterback
impossible.
in the future 25 and landing a top-tier defensive lineman in the top 6. So Chargers moving on to 26 here. We're going to go Cam Smith.
What I do find funny is, right, like Seattle's picking, we had them 6th, yeah, and 25th. Obviously, we thought 25th was going to be Denver's pick. So it's funny how it works out, We thought, oh, Seattle's tanking, right, blah, blah, blah. No one's really tanking, except for Houston, and they still did it wrong. Shout out Lovey.
Smith, the cornerback from South Carolina. Yes, another South Carolina guy who's going to be a hot commodity, I think, next year, playing in the SEC. Incredible patience, technique.
He was good.
And
he was
really
good in 2021.
In terms of initiating physicality and staying physical throughout the routes. Another guy who's going to be, again, talked about is like, yeah, this is the heir to J.C. Horn and what Horn was
pretty
at
close.
South Carolina. Cam Smith can be that as well. Chargers like cornerbacks. There's no doubt about it.
That's
Brandon
true.
Staley likes guys like this and didn't really address it in this draft. We thought he might, obviously going to the Stingley Pro Day, but here you go back to the SEC well at corner.
Not
Maybe
impossible.
Puts Asante Samuel Jr. in the slot, but that's okay.
Everything's going well here.
Smith and Jackson
almost too
and
well.
Samuel Jr. sounds phenomenal.
Except for the QBs.
Miami Dolphins, I know they've put a lot into running back, and I understand
they might
why
select
this makes
Gibbs or
no
Charbonnet
sense
or
in some sense, but like honestly, this would be awesome. Like think about Bijan Robinson with Mike McDaniel. This is nuts, man.
That would be insane.
Mostert and Edmonds, they're fine, but like Bijan Robinson's next level. He doesn't really have the home run speed of maybe an Elijah Mitchell where you're thinking, oh yeah, this dude's sub 4.4. That's okay though. The ability in space for him to just anticipate where defenders are going to be, move defenders, the processing and the wicked twitch, the lateral toolbox he has in space, the contact balance.
Yep.
Dude can run between the tackles, great vision.
Say the thing.
And really, honestly, as a receiver, he's absolutely incredible. This is the true 3-down back that really could get running backs back in the first round in 2023. And it'll be a fun debate about positional value with Bijan Robinson.
It always is, isn't it?
Player. Great ad for Miami.
It always is.
Detroit at 28, we're going to go Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State. This is another guy,
Joey
physically
Porter
talented
Jr.
player at Penn State.
W.
He's going to draw, the matchup will be watching him against some of the Ohio State guys. He's a talented player, though, strong physical player for the Lions. This is just a type of guy Dan Campbell will really like. We'll see what Okudah does this year. They've got a lot of guys who are unproven in the cornerback room.
This is
will
true. Will
anyone step up? If not, this makes a ton of sense here at 28.
Yep.
Yeah, Green Bay Packers, we're just going to give him a receiver. I really don't know.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? No. Jake. Past Jake. You know so much better than this. Not a first-round receiver. And why would you pick a 170-pound player? Dummy. Doesn't work like that. Idiot.
Where they'd go at this point. 2 safeties off the board. That could be a possibility with Amos's contract coming up. They've gone heavy on offensive line. We're just going to fill out the buckets at receiver. Obviously, Amari Rodgers, if he takes the step, this maybe isn't necessary, but Josh Downs is just incredible after the catch. A little bit smaller guy, but again, the production was absolutely there. Had 101 catches, over 1,300 yards for North Carolina last season. Obviously, Howell leaves, but production is still there. Plays well outside his frame in terms of tracking and attacking the catch point. He's a very fun playmaker with the ball in his hands. That's somebody Matt LaFleur would really like. Chiefs at 30.
I wonder if Downs would play the Tyler Ervin role.
I know they drafted Kennard late, and that was, to some people, a steal. Could potentially be the guy at right tackle. Now we're going to go Jalen Duncan here, who's got really good feet and impressive hands, good anchor.
This could be
really
around
a
2
finisher
pairing.
at tackle for Maryland. This will be a guy to watch this year in the Big Ten as one of the top tackles when you talk about him and Paris Johnson. Those are 2 guys who could take the leap and be first rounders. I'm going to, once again, project a little bit here
and say the Chiefs go this direction, he could slide over to right tackle opposite Orlando Brown and form a really good offensive line for the
not Orlando Brown,
really down the line future in Kansas City to protect
Jawan
Patrick
Taylor.
Mahomes. Buccaneers at 31. We're going to do the quarterback thing.
Idiot.
Kyle Trask ain't it. We know this.
We know that.
If Tom Brady does indeed call it after this season, whether it be a Super Bowl win or not, let's go Phil Jurkovec here, the quarterback from Boston College.
Okay, dummy. Why are you putting this dude in the first round? I have a clip. I'm playing it over right now. I actually put this guy in the first round of a mock. Come on, man.
I think Jaron Hall from BYU is somebody who could crack the first round. Wouldn't shock me at all. But this guy, prototypical size, good arm, can push the ball vertically down the field, and that makes a lot of sense in this scheme for Tampa Bay. And, toughness, poise, and athleticism to kind of, make plays on the move if need be. So, again, another guy who could take that leap. Him throwing to Zay Flowers is going to be a lot of fun. So Tampa Bay
Zay Flowers was a lot of fun.
Future franchise quarterback.
Jurkovec was not fun.
Bills finishing up at 32. B.J. Ojulari, edge rusher from LSU. You're going to talk about this
probably
name a lot
not
as well.
Sneak in the first.
Another guy could see take a leap in production. Wouldn't shock me at all. The LSU defensive line is talented. We didn't even talk about Jaquelin Roy either. That dude's a beast too up front.
Dummy.
We've got Ali Gay as well. Like that's a talented LSU front.
It is.
And Ojulari could be the best of them. He can dip like nobody's business. Had a couple great reps winning against Evan Neal this past season. So look for him to potentially as well crack the first round because edge rusher once again looks very
he
talented.
Could crack it technically. Okay. Overall, not horrible. Last year's was bad. If you want to see it, it's up here. It's down in the description. That's fine. So biggest wins were obviously those top four, right? We got a lot of the guys as well into the first round. Porter Jr., Cam Smith, Bijan, obviously. Got the two tackles in Skoronski and Paris Johnson. Got Nolan Smith in there, right? Got Addison in there. Maybe he still sneaks in there. But Levis to the Colts might be the biggest W. Jackson Smith-Njigba to the Bears could be one. We still got Murphy in there, but there's a lot of guys we missed, and that just shows you, right? Like Tyree Wilson's not there, right? Obviously, Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones, Anton Harrison not there. So Brian Branch isn't there. So it just tells you how much shifts between May and April. And it's a cool exercise, and I hope you guys enjoyed this mock draft reaction. If you did, throw a like down there. Sub if you're new. Draft show this Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, potentially Friday as well. And plenty of draft content still coming out. So I hope you guys stick around for that. Hope you enjoy this again. I always like doing this, but I will catch you guys very, very soon in the next video. Farewell.